Tonight, we are witnessing something extraordinary, something no Canadian Prime Minister has pulled off in years. Mark Carney has landed in the United Arab Emirates, and instead of routine diplomacy, instead of a polite photo op, instead of another quiet foreign trip, the UAE's royal leadership rolled out a reception normally reserved for global heavyweights. Carney wasn't just welcomed, he was received like a man whose arrival matters to their economy, to their strategy, and to the shifting geopolitical map. And behind the scenes, away from the cameras, away from Ottawa's nervous bureaucrats and Trump's unpredictable outbursts, the Royals delivered a message that could change the trajectory of Canada's next decade. Bring us the projects, we will bankroll them, and we will help you build the Canada that Donald Trump cannot control. Tonight we break down what really happened in the UAE and why this moment could redefine Canada's power on the world stage.
All right, Mitch Hempel is my guest, conservative strategist with Enterprise Canada. Hey, Mitch, good to see you.
Good to see you, Todd.
All right, your expectations for this trip here. What's at stake for Mark Carney? What do you think?
What's at stake for Mark Carney is the beginning of his entire strategy to try and diversify Canada away from the United States. That starts with seeking major capital investment in the Middle East. He's in the UAE, but also continuing to build the diplomatic relationships that he's had to resuscitate since taking over for Justin Trudeau.
Yeah, and I wonder how successful you think he's going to be, Mitch. You know, you've seen him on other trade missions elsewhere in the world. Now he's going to the UAE, first time, as you mentioned there, since then Prime Minister Pierre Elliott Trudeau. We know that the Emiratis have got a lot of money, and Mark Carney is talking about these mega projects that he wants to build and obviously help fund.
From the very first minute of Carney's arrival, it was obvious this trip was different. The UAE is not subtle when it wants to send a message. Their sovereign wealth funds control trillions, and when they see an opportunity, they move decisively. Carney's entrance was treated not like a ceremonial visit, but like the arrival of a partner they've been waiting for. The political world noticed immediately. Diplomats saw the body language. Analysts saw the investment signals. The Royals' message was unmistakable. Canada is welcome. Carney is respected. And the UAE is ready to talk business. Let's shake hands and get that money to... The UAE is the capital of sovereign wealth. Their investment appetite is massive but selective. For years, Canada never gave them anything worth backing. Timid governments, shelved ideas, endless delays. Carney is the first prime minister in a generation who arrived with something real, large-scale infrastructure and energy projects that match UAE investment style. And when Carney laid out Canada's new direction, a Canada willing to build pipelines, export infrastructure, strategic energy corridors, the UAE responded exactly as insiders predicted. This is what we've been waiting for. Bring us more. Behind closed doors, the tone sharpened. The UAE knows Canada and US are under unprecedented pressure from each other. Tariffs, trade threats, annexation comments, unpredictable behavior. The U.S. is no longer the reliable partner it once was. The Royals understand geopolitics better than almost anyone on the planet, and they can sense when a nation is on the cusp of breaking free. Their message to Carney was quiet but powerful. Let us help you build the megaprojects that Washington expects you to fail at. Let us help you create an economic shield that Trump cannot penetrate. For the UAE, supporting Carney isn't about charity. It's about strategic positioning. A stable Canada, strengthened by UAE capital, becomes a counterweight to U.S. unpredictability. This is not just investment, this is geopolitical alignment. The biggest buzz, a potential pipeline corridor extending to the northern coast of British Columbia. This is not a small project, this is a generational build, one that requires tens of billions and a stable financing partner, and the UAE's sovereign funds are laser-focused on it. A project like this would transform Canada's export capacity. It would reduce dependence on U.S. ports. It will also create thousands of jobs. It will shift Canada's strategic position in global energy markets, and it will permanently change Canada's negotiating power with Washington. If Carney secures even a preliminary commitment, this would become one of the largest foreign-backed infrastructure megaprojects in Canadian history. This is the kind of partnership that rewrites a nation's future. Carney's critics like to mock his travel schedule, but those trips had a purpose. rebuilding relationships that Canada neglected for decades. The UAE visit is the moment the strategy finally clicks. Carney is no longer laying foundations, he is cashing them in. He isn't searching for photo ops, he's assembling a new economic architecture, one that places Canada at the center of global investment networks that bypass American volatility. This trip marks the turning point, where diplomacy becomes dollars. Insiders are hinting at something big. Carney may leave the UAE with a signed investment pact. This would mean that UAE capital committed to Canadian infrastructure. This could mean a roadmap for joint energy and transit projects, and a new non-US financial pillar supporting Canada's growth. This is not normal diplomacy. This is a strategic partnership forming in real time. The UAE values pragmatism and hard results. They respect leaders who work quietly, negotiate strategically, and deliver. Carney fits perfectly into that world. He isn't preachy. He isn't moralizing. He isn't there to lecture. He is there to do business. And the UAE responds to that energy. This shift from Trudeau-era idealism to Carney-era hard strategy has opened doors that were previously locked. It's why the UAE sees Carney as a long-term partner, not a symbolic visitor. Carney's trip to the UAE is more than diplomacy, more than investment, more than a pipeline discussion. It is the beginning of an economic realignment, a realignment where Canada stops begging the US for predictable trade, where Donald Trump loses the ability to punish the Canadian economy, where the UAE's wealth becomes the financial engine behind Canada's biggest national projects. This is how Carney changes the game. This is how Canada becomes resilient. This is how a middle power becomes a strategic power. This is how you beat Trump without ever confronting him directly.